Hello there, my name's John Tomkins and welcome to the first Discover Devon film, which is a new show introducing you to writers, producers, actors from across Devon in the growing independent film scene down here. And my first guest is Diana Townsend, who is a producer, writer based in Dawlish from Inspired Toad Productions. So I was very fortunate last week to be at your premiere, your feature film, Deadly Intent. But I want to backtrack a bit. It was an amazing evening. How did you get to be a movie producer?
It's been quite a long story. When I was young, it was the one thing that I always wanted to do, was to get involved in films. But at that point, I wanted to write films rather than produce them. And when I left school, unless you already had a link to the film industry, and particularly unless you lived in London, it really just wasn't possible. There was no way for someone like me to get involved. So I went off, did other things, more sensible things, had a family, all the rest of it. And when my daughters left home and went off to university, I went, particularly my older daughter, she became a fashion designer. And while she's very talented. And while she was studying at a place called Ravensbourne, I went to visit her. And as well as the fashion design department, they also had a media department. And the students there, they were doing the most amazing work because they had digital cameras, they had green screens, they had everything that's available today. And I was just so envious, to be honest. I was really green. And when I came home, I told my other daughter about what was happening, and I moaned a bit, I suppose. And a couple of years later, when my younger daughter also went off to drama school, she persuaded me that if I really wanted to make films, that it wasn't too late, that I ought to just get on and do it. And that was about 5 or 6 years ago. The problem was I literally didn't know anything about filmmaking at that point. So I started from the beginning with a course on how to write a script and developed from there. It's been very much a case of learning as you go along. I've been lucky enough that people seem to like the scripts, and I've been able to attract some very talented people to work with me. As you say, there was a really growing film movement in Devon.
Yeah, so it's been, when I first started being a film, I think it was 2008, I didn't know about this world of filmmakers.
Exactly. I was living in Dawlish, and I was very lucky that my husband and my brother were supportive of me and they worked with me, but I didn't know anybody else. And it's taken a long time to gradually find other people working in film. They're there and they're very talented, but there hasn't been a nucleus for people to work together in the past.
Yeah, because now in 2016, to the audiences out there, there's a massive amount of crews and things that you can get, groups and things, but there wasn't that when I think we first started trying to get some films off the ground. And
exactly, it's taken time, but now I think there's a growing impetus in the filmmaking community, and I would really love to see it push and get more and more films made here.
No, definitely. So with the Deadly Intent project, how did you go from that 6 years is a remarkably short space of time to go from an idea from starting to having a sold out screen audience out there in Teignmouth? It was absolutely packed full of people, and it was an amazing accomplishment. And I believe that you can buy the film.
Yes, the film's now available. It will be available on DVD very shortly, but it's available on Google Play. It's going to be on quite a few different platforms, but at the moment it's Google Play that it's available on.
So how did the Deadly Intent project come about?
Well, I thought it would be sensible for a first film to go for something on a genre, and I've always liked paranormal thrillers. So I sort of called upon some of my own feelings of things that have made me scared in the past. I sort of developed that idea and got onto the idea of a small boy that became the centre of paranormal activities. Once I got the script written, I went up to Raindance in London, where they have the Raindance Film Festival. They had a networking session, and I basically stood up and asked, I wanted to get in contact with the directors, and I was very lucky that I met a lady called Rebecca Fortune, who has been a theatre director for quite a long time, and she's very experienced with working with actors, and at that point she was just looking to branch out into film. And so once we started working with Rebecca, and gradually we built around us the other crew members, and we found some very good cast. The most difficult thing was because one of the main characters is a child, and of course trying to find an 8-year-old boy who is capable of acting in the scenes, that was quite challenging. I mean, you saw yourself some of the things we put him through.
Well, there's that old phrase: "You never work with children, never work with animals," because
Yeah,
it's just
very true. Exactly.
And you haven't worked with animals yet, but
we did. We had a hamster.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you did. Yeah. So yeah. Nothing to spoil about the film. There is a hamster in the film. So. Yeah.
Oh, he's an important element. Frodo, the hamster. Yes.
Frodo.
Frodo.
Yes. Any influences there?
Well, he just seemed to be a good name for a hamster. He was very well behaved, fortunately. And so was the young boy. Gus Barry, who played the main character, James, he was absolutely phenomenal. We were very, very lucky to have found him. He was actually slightly older than the character was needed. He was 12 when he took the part, but he looked quite young for his age. And he's now gone on to he's been nominated for a BAFTA already.
Oh, wow.
So yes, he is very, very talented.
Well, I hope he mentions you when he's... That was his first big break.
Yes, I'm sure he's destined to go on to great things. So yes, but that was basically how we gradually built together a cast and crew to work on it. And each stage that we went through of making the film, we were having to learn everything related to that as we went. And there were all sorts of problems and things to overcome, but somehow we managed to get through it. And the post-production, which we had anticipated would take about 6 months, ended up taking about 3 years. So you can imagine that we had a lot of hurdles to overcome. But finally, we've done it. We've got a finished film.
How long are you going to be away?
Get the job done and then I'll be back. Promise.
It's as though he blames me for everything.
You're here. Can't take it out on Steve.
You have to go to bed, James.
Get up! I hate you!
What is that?
It's a dream catcher.
But what's it for?
To trap evil spirits. It was Dad! I saw him!
You can't have.
I saw him!
James, your dad is dead.
I didn't...
James?
But not only has got one, some people would be okay with one. You've got a second one nearly completed.
Yes.
Called Scary Crows.
Scary Crows. Scary Crows is something completely different. It's a comedy film, but it's sort of a teen horror, shall we say, about a horde of scary crows that take over a quiet seaside town and chop people up.
Of Dawlish.
It's called Sidcombe in the film, but yes,
Oh, right. Filmed in Dawlish.
It's filmed in Dawlish. It's got a lot of local colour, shall we say.
So one thing I've found, Dana, as filmmakers I've spoken to in the past, is the community spirit down there of supporting a project.
Yes,
how was that on
phenomenal.
Deadly Intent and Scary Crows?
Yeah, for both films, we had a huge amount of support from local individuals and businesses. It really wouldn't have been possible without that fantastic community spirit, particularly with Scary Crows, because we did have a bit of a disaster partway through. On the very last night of the shoot, we literally had an accident with the camera van, that the wheel came off, which meant that they couldn't get to the set until 3 hours after we started. And of course, by then it was night time, and we were due to film through the night anyway, but eventually the sun came up. We couldn't film anymore. That was the last day of the shoot. Everyone else had to go home, and so we couldn't finish the film, and we had to do a Kickstarter campaign to raise enough money to do a reshoot. And it was phenomenal how the local people just got behind us. We got so much support, and we actually managed to reach our targets.
Oh, that's superb. Well
it
done.
was.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
was.
yeah. It's like
it was
a relief.
really nerve-wracking.
you can finish your jigsaw puzzle of the film.
Exactly.
It's there.
Exactly. Because so much work had gone into it. It would have been really sad if we couldn't. But no, it's been finished. It's really. I'm very proud of it. It's a great film.
So do we have a release date that
We
can tell
don't have a
to
release
people?
date yet. It will be within the next few months. Certainly, we've got a sales agent attached, so it's
superb.
doing really well, and I'm looking forward to the next premiere.
So one question I always like asking filmmakers and things, is there any advice you give to, there might be a student out there or somebody who's thinking about getting into the film industry, any advice you could give?
Really,
Doing your first film, your first short?
Yeah. The most important thing of all is the script. Make sure your script is as strong as it possibly can be. And even when you think it's as good as it can be, go back and have another look at it. And I learnt the hard way about having children in my script, because I realised that I didn't realise until we were actually 2 weeks before shooting that because of the regulations with children, you're very limited on the amount of hours you can have them on set. And that meant because I was committed to, I'd already spent the money that we had on camera hire, all the rest of it. So we had to go ahead and shoot. And I literally had to cut out half of my script and rewrite it without the small boy in it in the 2 weeks before shooting. So the script is absolutely essential. After that, I would say only work with people that you really get on with. And that may be a bit controversial, but regardless of how experienced and talented people are, you need to have a happy set. And it is essential to find people that you can collaborate well with. Other than that, just be very, very determined and don't let anything stop you, whatever. Just keep on going, you'll get there.
Oh, superb. So, drawing the interview to a close, this is your plug moment. Where can we find out about where to buy the film? If anybody wants to get involved in the productions, the screenings, where do we go?
Well, the production company is called Inspired Toad. So we have a website, inspiredtoad.co.uk. But Deadly Intent itself, you can find, it's available to download on Google Play at the moment, which is great. We also have a new production, which we're at very early stages of, which is going to be called An Unsuitable Game. Something completely different, yes, about the early days of ladies football. So that's on Facebook under An Unsuitable Game. But yes, come and find us and watch what we're doing. That would be great.
Superb. Well, thanks very much for joining me today, Diana.
It's been good seeing you.
Thank you very much.